In today's episode, we're going to be reacting to some of the craziest and strangest videos I found on TikTok. Let's get into it.
Apparently, there was this show in Britain that they were doing, and they were going to take 7 civilians, and they were going to train them to be astronauts in 3 weeks, and then they were going to send them to space.
Whoa.
What they didn't know is that it was all a prank.
Oh my gosh,
But
that's awesome.
They did actual auditions, all on camera, making them do the most ridiculous things, like skin white suits and doing like yoga poses and stuff like that, because they're making episodes out of it. 3 weeks goes by, they're doing like physical tests, written tests, all these things, and then they get prepped. And they go inside this shuttle. They're up there for 5 days. They've got screens that are showing their travel.
Oh my gosh.
They're all looking at it. There's even a point where they say they're in front of the planet Uranus. And they have to do a pledge. And they literally say, "I stand before Uranus."
Oh my
And so
God.
they're just making content and stuff. And then on their 5th day, they prep them for this like one spacewalk. And then when they open up the door, they walk out and it's a live studio audience.
Oh my gosh.
And everyone's completely shocked. Some people are laughing. Some people are angry. It's like, I just couldn't believe they pulled that off. I think that's I don't know
That's
why.
amazing.
I don't know why we don't do fake reality shows more. It's so
That's
entertaining.
awesome.
Ethics, maybe.
Now, I had to look this up because I didn't know if this was true or not, and it is actually true. As far as the show did exist, it was called Space Cadets, and supposedly that was all actual events. The cast was completely unaware that it was a prank. If that is actually true, and that's not just something that they're writing on there to make it sound even more real, that's kind of scary, because that kind of goes to show how easily manipulated people really can be. And on a show like that where you're actually thinking that you're going to space, that would probably be such a huge letdown to come to the realization that it was just a prank. I guess you could say emotional damage. And I know there's other shows out there that have done similar things, but not necessarily sending people off to space. That's a crazy one to me.
The Panama Canal is much more epic than you think, and there is a reason the US wants to take it back. Normally, if you ever wanted to go from the Atlantic to the Pacific Ocean, you would have to go all the way around South America like this, which can literally take up to 2 months. But the US wanted a shortcut by cutting through the thinnest part of land right through the other side that would save them billions of dollars and months of time. This thinnest part happened to be in Panama, which was part of Colombia at the time, who wanted nothing to do with the US. So Colombia let the French build this shortcut in 1882, who failed miserably due to disease and other factors, and the project went bankrupt. America saw this and determined that Panama needed some good old freedom, so they intervened and helped Panama gain its independence in 1903. In return, Panama gave the US this tiny strip of land that happened to be exactly where the canal was being built. In 1904, America buys the failed Panama Canal project from the French for $40 million and finishes it 10 years later in 1914. But it was kind of worth it. Not only did it cut months of travel time down to about 8 hours, generated billions of dollars in revenue, but also ended up being crucial for military operations in the Navy. So what happened? How did the US lose control of such a critical asset? Well, first you need to realize the Panama Canal sure ain't no hole-in-the-ground tunnel that just connects the two oceans. The engineering that went into this is on par with one of the greatest achievements in all of humanity. So the sea level on the Pacific side is actually about 20 centimeters higher than on the Atlantic side for various complex scientific reasons. Not to mention the water level of lakes and rivers on land is much higher than the oceans too. In order to get ships across, the Panama Canal uses a series of locks and water chambers that slowly fill up and bring the passing ship up to the water level of the artificial lake on land. It passes through the man-made lake and does the same thing in reverse on the other side to bring it back down to the other ocean. Boom boom bop, easy does it, right? Well, not so much, because in 1977, the Torrijos-Carter treaties promised Panama would regain full control of the canal by the end of 1999, which it did. So Panama now owns full control of the canal, which generates billions and billions of dollars a year in revenue. And you know who loves billions and billions of dollars? This guy right here, who realized what a grave mistake it was to give it up and now kinda wants it back.
So as the plane that crashed was heading to runway 33, by the way, we're getting reports that the staffing was not normal at these locations. You could see it speeding up and trying to lift up a lot, as if trying to avoid something. You can loop it and watch it again, we got a lot to go over. And yes, you heard me right, the staffing was not normal. Multiple reports, multiple people. But the craziest part is at the end. I got multiple different angles of the crash I'm about to show you, but one thing that's really important to know is the Black Hawk did not have a black box flight recorder on it for some reason, you know? And obviously, you see what that is. Now, there are multiple Russians that were on this flight, and he actually took a picture of the plane before it took off, and he posted it to his social media. Because of who was on this plane, I'm not comfortable with the way it went down. Now, here's security cam footage, and we're about to go over dash cam footage. Now, the reason I can only show you and not say anything about it is really weird. I made a video last night, and it got taken off the For You page. But 12 hours later, I woke up, and someone made an identical video and got 1 million views in 3 hours. Pretty weird, right? Some are allowed to talk and some aren't. If I didn't know any better. Now, besides the helicopter taken off from a residential neighborhood, it's almost like the helicopter is flying itself. CNN are just elite reporters. They were able to report the crash in advance of 5 hours, which AI confirmed with the information available on the internet, that they were able to get it 5 hours in advance. And not just that, but a glitch that showed the plane made it. Prayers for everyone affected. I'm sure we're going to hear a lot more about this.
I'm really sorry for the families that are going through this tragedy. I just looked up the news on this and it's horrible. So prayers for everyone out there that is going through this. And one thing I will have to say about this content creator is he complains that he has a video where he's talking about a topic and it gets taken down, and then he sees another creator talking about the topic and it has X amount of likes and views within a certain amount of hours, and that kind of rubs me the wrong way. It's like, that's not really the point. I get if you're a content creator and that's how you're making your money, I understand, but the point is you're just spreading the message, and if someone's message is pushed further than yours, it's not a matter of who's being able to talk about it or not. It's about at least spreading the message and sharing the support. YouTube and TikTok doesn't just shadow ban their videos for no reason, but I don't want to go too deep into it, but yeah.
In 1997, Peter Anthony faced a dire medical emergency. His intestinal tract ruptured. During emergency surgery, Peter was unresponsive for several minutes. His heart stopped beating, and by all medical standards, he was dead. But in these moments, Peter describes his consciousness leaving his body, enveloped in an unusual tranquility. He was drawn toward an overwhelming, radiant light. This light ushered him into what he refers to as the Gateway Realm, a place of indescribable beauty. Here, he encountered what he called beings of light, whom he perceived as guides or guardians. They communicated not through words, but through feelings and visions. While in this state, Peter underwent a life review, an experience many near-death survivors describe. He relived key moments of his life, but from the perspective of others. This wasn't a judgment, but a profound lesson in empathy and compassion. Peter felt an overwhelming connection to what he described as a divine presence, a universal, undeniable love. Miraculously, after being clinically dead for several minutes, Peter was resuscitated. It was anticipated that Peter would have severe brain damage. Instead, Peter not only survived, he returned with no neurological deficit. Doctors said it was impossible. After this profound experience, he left behind his career in Hollywood to delve into and share his newfound knowledge. His story has since been one of transformation, advocating for love and a deeper understanding of life's mysteries. What do you think Peter saw? Was it proof of an afterlife, a vivid hallucination, or perhaps something science has yet to fully understand?
That's really interesting. And imagine being someone that's lived half of their life and they experience their life again through other people. That would be a wild experience. Hey, if you haven't done so already and you're enjoying the show, give it a like. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe. For everyone that's currently watching and or subscribed, thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. I would also like to give a special shout out to all of my members on my channel. So to everyone that you see on the screen right now, thank you guys so much for being an active member. I cannot thank you enough.
A lot of people like to jump the gun and think that I am a vegan, and I just want to clear the air. I am not a vegan. Yes, this monosaccharide diet would fall in line with veganism, but this is like calling a dog a horse. There are two different ball games, people, not the same at all. Vegans, I will say, were the closest to being right, but they're not. They're not. They still have soy, starches, and complex carbohydrates that are going to force the body to go into diet-induced thermogenesis, creating heat to break these things down. This monosaccharide fruit diet is based on the concept that there is no digestion needed because these monosaccharides are already in their simplest form. You don't have to break down protein into amino acids or complex carbohydrates into monosaccharides because they're already there. So this skips the entire process of digestion. Not to mention, when these vegans eat this starch coagulates your lymph, and your lymph system is what removes wastes, bacteria, viruses, and toxins, and abnormal cells that can lead to the C word. This is a diet that is like a complete detox 24/7, giving your body the complete nutrients that you need. Because people are like, oh, where are you getting your nutrients? Dude, these fruits are packed with nutrients. I don't know where these people are coming up with, oh, where are you getting your nutrients? What are you talking about? These are called colloidal minerals that are 95 to 98% bioavailable. And you don't have to toll the body with digestion. And not to mention, if we're talking about what it really does, is it really extracts the carbon and the nutrients. Just like when you feed a plant, it needs the nutrients and the carbon. It gets the carbon from photosynthesis, where it takes the energy from the sun and extracts the carbon from the carbon dioxide. We are extracting the nutrients and the carbon and excreting this 2H2O. So, also, if you guys have not heard me say before, H2O is not hydration. It is a byproduct of creating energy. And it's not organic. H2O is not organic. It was organic when it was in the fruit because it had the carbon constituent, but we extract that and we release this inorganic source. So, long story short, I'm not vegan.
I personally have no problem with anybody that wants to be vegan. I completely understand in a way if you are wanting to be vegan because you do not like the act of animals being harmed at slaughterhouses and things like that. Me, myself, I am not vegan nor vegetarian. I do like to eat my vegetables, fruits, and meats. I actually have a few steaks now cooking, and that's why I have a lot of pauses happening in my video, because most of the time I'm cooking while I'm watching videos. But overall, I would like to ask anyone that is watching this video, if you are a vegan, I do have a couple of questions that I would like to know. Are you a vegan because of animal cruelty and harm that happens to animals? And would you be more okay with it if it happened in a more natural or survivalistic setting, like being on a farm, growing their own food, raising cattle, and processing their own meat from that? As a vegan, would you feel better about that process and possibly trying to eat that food over having food that's been done in a much more industrious fashion? Because I definitely understand it is awful what happens to animals at slaughterhouses. It's horrible.
Whatever you do not do this. Ever. This trend's been going around for a long time, but for some reason has resurfaced and people are trying it all across Earth. Essentially what people are doing is staring at themselves in the mirror, which doesn't sound weird at all, but it will in a minute. You may have heard things in the past about people who have stared in the mirror at themselves for too long and start seeing their face distort, or other faces, or just very strange things. Now this is actually 100% true. I'm going to explain it right now. But first of all, take a look at this video right here. Now when you look at the green dot in the middle, after a while you'll notice the yellow dots will be moving around or even fading. Now this is called the Troxler effect, which is exactly what's happening to people when they stare in the mirror. Your mind basically playing tricks on you and creating things is what happens when you stare at yourself for too long. Many people have said when they've stared at the mirror for around 15 minutes, they've seen their own face smiling back at them or turning into someone who is not there. And yeah, this is 100% true. It does happen, and this is exactly why. The Troxler effect is crazy, but pretty damn scary, and let me know if you want me to actually try this.
Standing in front of a mirror for 5 hours just staring at yourself sounds miserable, regardless of the things that you see. And there's actually probably more people that do this than they realize. With phones and cameras, we probably stare at ourselves more than we think we do. Now, I may not have stared at myself for 5 hours all in one sitting, but overall, I probably have hours upon hours upon hours of staring at myself, not only right now, while I'm recording this video, but while I edit. I have stared at my face a lot over this past year. Yep. So I can't say that I've actually stared in front of a mirror for 5 hours straight, but the overall amount of time that I've stared at myself in this camera and while editing, and it does mess with you a little bit.
I'm watching this clip, right? As above, so below, right? Guys, I made the connection. It's gonna blow your mind that we knew all along what does it remind you of? what this is remind you of, y'all. Watch this. Look, I'm not supposed to be holding on to this phone, but my mind cannot stop, and I feel like I should share this. Whenever I watch something, I connect dots. That's me. And whenever you're watching something, when they're showing you books in those movies, take the titles. They are telling you something. But this is a big ass camera, y'all. I'm gonna show you guys. This is what they did not want to tell us what that is, y'all. I'm gonna show you guys what that is. You guys ready? Just tell me if I'm onto something, man. TikTok, this is not facts. This is not true. All right, guys, check this out. TikTok, this is not true. This is not facts. All right. So you guys, take a second and read this and tell me what you think. They have been lying to us, y'all.
That's actually a pretty interesting theory. I don't know if I necessarily go for it, but I see where he's going with it. Let me know in the comments of what you guys think.
So what if I told you that I'm using frequencies to levitate this magnet? No traditional electromagnets, just resonance and field control. Which means this isn't like regular magnetism. The magnet isn't like being pulled by a force. It's being held in a space by a precise combination of electromagnetic standing waves, which I've built, harmonic resonance for those standing waves, and then like vortex stabilization. Although I want this to be anti-gravity, I think we've only managed to be like a partial anti-gravity, which is what pushes this beyond traditional magnetic levitation. So what I've done is I've stacked multiple harmonic frequencies together using like base frequencies of 100 hertz, 7.3 hertz, 1.618 hertz to create a levitation field. Plus I added in anti-drift frequencies to keep it stable and like some vortex suction waves to pull it up into the actual center of the vortex. And this is way different than what I was trying before, where it would take me 3 or 4 days just to create a copper electromagnetic by running steady electricity through it. With this new approach, it's instantaneous. This new set is also producing way more stability in the center, though obviously we're not there quite yet, but this is definitely the closest I've ever gotten to a fully frequency-driven levitation system. And if we can get this centered perfectly, well, let's just say we're heading into some seriously uncharted territory.
Now, I'm pretty sure I've talked about this, but being that I've seen this, it just kind of re-triggered my thought process on it. And I'm feeling kind of rambly today, sorry. I like to think that if we're going with space is fake and astronauts aren't really out in space, which I'm not saying that is the case. I'm just theorizing on if space is fake and what they use to make the astronauts look like they're floating in space. I feel like they would have a device that would be something similar like this. And what we see is the inside of the device, which is what they call the spaceship. But on the outside of the spaceship's walls is a big mechanism that looks like that. And the suits and the equipment that the astronauts wear on the inside are made of copper and things that help them with that levitation and floating effect. That's why it's never perfect and it's always a little odd when you see them. It's because it's such an unstable system that they're using. Let me know what you guys think about this theory. And sorry for being rambly today.
If this doesn't wake you up to NASA's lies, then nothing will. They're trying to tell us that this is a picture of the moon from out in space. Just take your veil off for a second and look closely at this picture they took. It's not CGI, right? This is an actual picture of the dark side of the moon. Ask yourself, first of all, where's the stars? Second of all, this is the dark side of the moon. Third of all, let's take a closer look at this imagery here. Tell me this doesn't look like some kind of a green screen overlay or something they just copied and pasted onto this picture. It does look like a sloppy crop. Look at the way this green edge is popping up in here. Don't tell me that's normal or that's just what the moon does. Watch this video of this joker trying to explain the dark side of the moon and how we don't know anything about it, but we got these pictures they're showing us of the dark side of the moon.
And we're trying to get at what's the Chinese are doing, you think, on the back side of the moon. Do you have any insights in that?
They are going to have a lander on the far side of the moon, which is the side that's always in dark. We're not planning to go there.
And why not? And what's the benefit of doing so?
We don't know what's on the backside of the moon, so that would be something that they would discover. But our decision is that it's more profitable for us to go to the South Pole of the moon because we think that's where the water is.
Why do you think they made that decision? I'm curious.
I have no idea.
And I'm not the only one who's seeing these things. Many people are making observations of how this is BS. You can't have light shining on the Earth and on the dark side of the moon and it not be lit up like this. So you really need to ask yourself what the hell they're saying. And yes, where's the moon's shadow? If the sun's lighting up this dark side of the moon, then there should be a shadow casted on the Earth. Yes, and what about the comparison in size? This guy says he can do a better Photoshop with his cell phone, and I agree. These comments are getting better and better because people are actually looking at these things with a veil lifted. And so when you have your veil lifted, you can actually see things that they are lying to you about. This is all of the whole point of it. Read this comment. I'm no photographer, but I understand how our solar system works, right? According to what they tell us. This contradicts their own saying of what is going on out here. You simply cannot have a completely lit up moon and a dark moon at the same time as presented in this photo. I had so much evidence of the BS in this that it never ends, you guys. They tell us that we have the dark side of the moon because it's rotating as it spins around us and we're only seeing one side. That's why we're only seeing one side of the moon? Really? Really, guys? Do not forget that they burn $25 billion a year on NASA.
I just looked this up because I was curious, and it is true. This is an actual photo of the supposed dark side of the moon, but this photo was taken in like 2015. I do not understand why it's resurfacing, but nonetheless, it looks awfully fake.
Now, it's late and I'm tired, but President Donald Trump just signed an executive order releasing all of the JFK assassination files. This is something I'm very excited about because I have lots of personal theories. Now, I'm going to go over a few of mine and a few of the popular conspiracy theories related to this. Now, this is for entertainment purposes only and should not be taken as fact. Now, the story we all know is Lee Harvey Oswald fatally shot and killed President Kennedy in 1963. And just 2 days after that, he was shot by Jack Ruby. End of story, right? No, well, JFK wanted to abolish the CIA, and a lot of people think this was an inside job. Jack Ruby playing a huge part in this role. And you see, Jack Ruby had some real problems. He was batshit crazy. Now, this whole Kennedy being taken out by the CIA thing is very popular. It even has its own Wikipedia page. And the CIA even has an article saying that they were not involved and talking about the power of disinformation. Now, there's also this document from an ex-CIA agent, this can be found on CIA.gov, saying that he bought multiple pew-pews and the CIA and Mafia worked together to take out President Kennedy. It's can't be taken as the truth, but it's really interesting. It's on the CIA's website. Now, Jack Ruby took out Lee Harvey Oswald, and like I said, he was really crazy. There's some super suspicious stuff going on here because this is Lewis West, his psychiatrist, who was heavily involved with the government and CIA experiments. Now, one of the most prominent experiments that Lewis West was involved in was MK-Ultra, something that is borderline unbelievable and only is confirmed because the CIA made a public apology. Now, a 20-second explanation if you don't know, MK-Ultra was a CIA experiment trying to brainwash people, make it easier to interrogate them, make them do things that they wouldn't want to do, like ending somebody's life. And you see, reading those files, it really seems like they figured it out. That's all I can really say. That's my own personal opinion, and none of this should be taken as fact, but this is a very interesting theory. I mean, that's crazy. It's like they'd had someone ready to do the mopping up after they did their dirty work. Really think about that. Now, Lewis West's involvement with Jack Ruby is no question at all. We know it happened. Here are files talking about it. Now, so far we've covered the official story we've been given and the conspiracy that the CIA did have something to do with it. But what about another country? Now, I personally think if there is any more to the story than what we've already been told, it was done by another country due to political motives. JFK was really stirring up the pot, and I have great specifics for you. Now, the first thing to know is JFK was pushing the FARA Act really, really hard, and that was potentially going to cause huge problems for our foreign adversaries or even our foreign allies. Now, I'm just going to read the Google AI explanation because I don't want to convolute this video going over the FARA Act and all of its stipulations, but this is decently accurate. Now, the first thing this would have caused Israel to do is register as a foreign agent, and they were really worried about not receiving funding from America because we have been a really, really, really good friend to them for a really long time, and I will explain why in just a second. Now, like I said, America's historically been a really good friend to Israel and given them a lot of money, and Israel wanted to keep that going. They were like, come on, give me some more money, give me some sugar. And America's like, man, I don't know if I can do this. JFK is pushing the FARA Act. It would have caused some big issues for Israel and stopped them having funding and really stopped them as being some type of power. Now, I'm going to read off some of the troubles that this would have caused Israel. Now, first, it would have caused intense regulation for any nonprofits or any political anythings at all. Now, the first thing it would do is put heavy regulations on nonprofits and anything having to do with organizations that are trying to advocate for Israel politically. As well as that, it would have required the Israeli government to register any time that they want to sway the American public. Now, the reason that's an issue is because they can no longer send out propaganda without informing the public first. Congress is supposed to listen to the people. They don't always do that, but they're supposed to, and if the people don't want to support Israel, it will cause real problems. Israel staying in the good graces of America was the best possible thing they could have done. And it would have caused American groups that receive funding from Israel to have insane transparency requirements, and this is where the real problem came from. Because you see, the FARA Act was about to go through, and tragically JFK passed away, and due to that, we have something like AIPAC. Now, all AIPAC is a political group that gives politicians a ton of money when they run for Congress, and if they win, they'll pass some laws that are pro-Israel. It's an exchange. It's called lobbying, and it should be illegal in my opinion. Now, here's where the issues come. AIPAC has a lot of money, and 98% of their candidates win their elections. They donated $70 million to support any pro-Israeli candidate and helped defeat 24 who would have undermined the US-Israel relationship. Just the verbiage that they brag on their website, this is insane and scary. Now, another scary thing they do is they will back politicians that have no relation to Israel or the Jewish ethnicity, just so they beat out politicians that come from the lineage of the Middle East. I mean, really, really think about this here. And like I said, 98% of the candidates they back win their general elections, which means 98% of our Congress has been bought by another country. And this only happened because JFK passed away. Like I said, for good reason. I think if there's more to the story, this is exactly what happened. And it's absolutely terrifying and something I'm usually afraid to talk about. But because the files are getting released, we'll go ahead and just talk about it. Now, quick disclaimer, the theories I went over this video are theories and should be taken as fiction until they are proven true, or at least taken as satire. This video was made for entertainment purposes only and not educational purposes. I do not want you to draw conclusions from what I say. I do not want you to draw opinions from what I say. At the very least, do your own research, but as of now, the facts are the facts. So again, please do not take what I say for fact, but I love you guys all and thank you for watching.
So I looked this up and we will not see the full release within 15 to 45 days. It's kind of confusing, but ultimately everything will be released, even information about Martin Luther King Jr. So that will be interesting. Let me know what your theories are in the comments because there's a lot of them out there.
NASA, look at me, look me in the eyes. There is nothing on Jupiter's moon Europa that you need to investigate. Do you understand me? You do not need to go burrowing through 10 to 15 miles of ice to check out that ocean. I have never seen a more cursed setup for unimaginable horrors that will happen if this is monkeyed with. Leave it alone. Or you can go back to the oceans on our planet. All right? If you want to play with an ocean, go mess with those. Go swim in there. Yeah.
I agree with that.
No, then you leave that alone. You do not dig through 15 miles of ice because there might be something there. There's nothing there. That's the decision. We've made the decision. There's nothing there. Doesn't exist. It's like your financial budget from 20 years ago. Never happened. Didn't happen. Leave it alone. Stop trying to figure out how to get in there. It has made it abundantly clear that it should not be disturbed. Do not read from this book. Are we clear, NASA? Leave it alone.
This is one of those Mandela effects that actually fucked me up because I swear this shit is real. Okay, you know how there's always emoji Mandela effects? Certain emojis never existed, but everybody remembers them. One of them being the robber. One of them being the green peas. One of them being a moose. Remember a moose emoji?
I don't remember.
I remember green
There's a
peas.
moose emoji?
Apparently, that's what people remember. People remember a swordfish, a hiking man, someone like climbing a mountain or some shit.
Yeah.
Now, this one's crazy. This Mandela effect, fam, I'm still pissed. Do you remember a milkshake emoji? This one.
No.
What the fuck? You don't remember this?
I remember a blue one.
What are you talking
You know
about?
the blue milkshake one? And it has ice cream on it?
What the fuck are you talking about? Y'all remember a milkshake emoji, right? This one. You don't remember this milkshake emoji? That is an NPC, bro. You're actually NPC.
Tell me that. You can't tell me that.
Where are you from? You don't remember a milkshake? Literally every single person I asked, every single person I told this, they all remember a milkshake emoji. This guy's part of the next dimension.
I don't think I remember a milkshake emoji, fam. Hell no. I never sent no one a milkshake emoji.
You don't remember a milkshake emoji, bro?
I have the green bean emoji and the moose emoji. I know at one point in time there used to be a robber emoji, one that would carry a bag over his shoulder. I know that used to exist, but it's no longer there. And there's no milkshake emoji, but I can't really recall if that was one or not, but I would figure it would be, but it's not an emoji, so let me know. Has any of these emojis been a thing or not a thing?
I don't want to go way down the alien abduction rabbit hole here, but the Greys, and I'm going to tell you this, matter of factly, the Greys are real. 100% real.
I mean, thousands of people have seen them.
Yes, many, many people have encountered them. I have friends who have encountered the Greys. One of my friends actually reached out and strangled one until she was deactivated.
Oh my gosh.
Gray aliens are real. Now, what exactly they are, there's a lot of speculation out there. Most of what we know about gray aliens comes from the alien abduction material. This is not fiction. That material there's a body of evidence that has every kind of evidence that you could prove a case in court with. It's got physical evidence, anecdotal evidence, there's all kinds of proof associated with alien abduction that is undeniable. So gray aliens are real, and there's a lot we could say about that. By the way, David Grush said as much in his testimony, that biologicals have been recovered, non-human biological. We're talking about gray aliens here. That's the primary group, I think, that's operating in our airspace. It's not the only group. And there's several groups. It's a very serious topic, and the research, the old school ufological research is very, very good.
Gordon Ramsay just posted a cryptic message to his socials that's a little concerning. Geoguessers like Rainbolt have all but confirmed that the view outside of his window is a runway right beside Area 51, with flight attendant Leisha even mentioning she was on that same flight with Gordon himself, which landed in the middle of the desert in Nevada, exactly where Area 51 is supposed to be. But I noticed a little something that no one else brought up. By now, everyone's seen this weird little pan sitting in his cup holder, and it's tiny, way too small to be used by any regular human. So what is this for? I zoomed in closer, applied some light filters, and noticed a pattern of hexagons all over it. I mean, clearly this is just his cookware brand, Hexclad, right? But oh, it goes much deeper than that, because I came across this leaked classified document featuring the exact same hexagonal pattern, which also claims we never made this technology. We recovered it from UFOs, non-human metallics. This all came out in 2016. Coincidentally, the same year Hexclad introduced this technology to the world. Whatever's going on here, the questions still stand. Who or what is this tiny pan for, and has Gordon really been working with classified alien technology this entire time?
Secretly, Gordon Ramsay is the alien making the technology. But all jokes aside, I seen these photos floating around the internet a few days ago, and I was confused as to what it was about exactly, so this kind of cleared it up. I really don't know what the whole ordeal is about, but it is funny that people are theorizing that. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about it all.
Alright, so that's the Osiris Temple in Egypt layout right here. This is a computer chip. This is going to be another computer motherboard right here, and this is the Mayan pyramids in Mexico. That's because all these ancient civilizations were highly in tune with energy, and they knew how to harness it. This lady's using a computer right here. Here she is again typing on it. This is a computer all day. All their temples are laid out like CPU hard drives and computer RAMs. You can see right here these dots on the inside of this blueprint. That's going to be the capacitors inside your computer board. So again, these are 4 temple blueprints back to back to back. These are all ancient electrical grids. You can see right here on the side of the temple, you got these cylinder columns right here. These are capacitors, right? They store electrical energy in the temple. They're going to be the same capacitors that are on all your circuit boards right here on the left and up here on the right, the three of them next to each other. All their temples were laid out using sacred geometry, harmonic resonances, and magnetism, okay? And they poured all these structures on site. They found the chemical formulas to match sandstone perfectly, and they were able to form these stone structures, mixing the mud right there on site. Every single one of the pillar columns that are inside the temple right there and on the outside of these walls act as integrated circuit chips, all right? These are what the columns are. That's the support column right there on all your temples. We're going to look at this history of architecture right on the outside that formed that circuit right there. This is one of the articles in it. The pyramid right here lines up perfectly with a computer chip. Here's your computer chip for reference right here. And here's another ancient aerial view of a civilization. This was all lined up and laid out to allow the electrical flow to run through these cities through wireless local telecommunications, whether it was through water, sound, electricity, magnetic fields. This is how they powered these cities. This is another temple in Egypt with the blueprints right below it. You can see the pillar columns are going to be those dots right there. The pillars are ionic pillars. They all will hold a charge. And that's why every single ancient structure is held up by pillars, and that's how they were powered. Each column contains quartz, and when this force is applied upon these pillars, it generates a voltage or electricity. This can be used to store information inside these pillars, the same way we store data inside quartz crystals.
If you're in the mall, right, would you rather get trapped with one king gorilla or 20 black mambas? The smaller one or the bigger one? Because a gorilla, you would hear it coming.
No, a gorilla, you're dead though.
But black mamba, fam, you don't know where the...
trapped in a mall?
Yeah, trapped in a mall. You can't leave.
That's a good question.
Imagine you're hiding. Black mamba, boom, comes from there.
Wait, how many? 20? That's light. That's light. In a mall, that's light.
Black mambas, though?
That's light. In a mall, that's light.
You're insane.
You be talking like 100. In a mall's big, bro. Are we talking Eden Center?
Yeah, like Eden Center. No, you're not. They will find you, bro.
Even Cedarbrae, I'm sprinting and they can't catch up.
Nah, because fam, what if you're taking a drink, right? You're like, oh fuck, I need a drink from the vending machine.
Yeah.
Boom, black mamba in the vending machine. You don't know they're there. It's
oh,
like
you're
stealth.
saying that it's hiding.
Yeah, it's hiding. It's like stealth versus like you know where it is. You feel me? I
don't know.
I'm taking the
bro.
gorilla, fam, because I hate that stealth shit. I don't want to open my lid and there'd be a black mamba.
Me personally, if I'm in a mall, I would rather take the black mambas. I know they're extraordinarily deadly, but I would definitely take that over a gorilla. Even if I don't know where the snakes are hiding, I would cautiously make sure to get enough clothes to wear and protect myself. Like, I would be so bundled up in thick clothes and just overall covered, I'd probably be sweating, but at least if a snake was on me, it would not be able to bite me. That's just my take. But overall, fun topic, and let me know in the comments, would you rather be stuck in a mall with 20 black mambas or one raging gorilla? And to make the rules a little bit more clear, you have 24 hours that you have to be stuck in this mall before you can get out. So that'll kind of help make up that decision a little bit better. So let me know.
Has anyone else heard of a little civilization called Tartaria? This right here is their flag. It looks like a dragon to me, but I guess you could call it like a serpent bird. Somebody tell me what it's called. I'm sure it has a name. I've always just thought of it as a dragon. There he is right there. He's a pretty cool guy. Check out what else I found though, 'cause I don't know what it means. But, this looks a lot like our dragon friend to me. I mean, I don't know. I could just be making stuff up. I could just be crazy. But that guy looks very familiar to me. By the way, if anybody doesn't know what this is that, I'm showing you right now, I don't want to get in trouble. All I'm going to say is start Googling different countries' coat of arms.
I really like the topics of Tartaria. It's just hard to find good topics about different things with Tartaria and not the same things over and over that we've already listened to 100 times. But I am always interested in hearing out some new Tartaria theories. Alright guys, I'm gonna go ahead and end today's video. As always, if you enjoyed any of the clips that we watched, there will be a link in the description that'll take you to all the videos that we watched today. With that being said, Have a good day.